But I'm just asking the question.
Somebody said...
You said we're unfiltered.
Can I just say this, Marty and Stephanie? Everyone feels sorry for Clayton because they think I'm mean to him. And I would... Is Marty?
Hold on. Who actually thinks?
I get comments from...
I want to know who thinks that.
I want to know who actually feels sorry for me.
People will text me on... When I'm doing like a live or something, that they feel sorry for Clayton. I'm like, what world are they living in?
Like wait, what? Look who I'm married to.
No, wait, Marty. Please don't feel sorry for Clayton. He has a pretty good life, I would say. Let me ask you about your life. How was your yesterday and your today?
How deep are we going to go into this conversation? Are we going to talk about love? We had a crazy work day. Both of us had a crazy work day, right?
But I called Clayton, and what time was it?
Oh, shit, was it 7 o'clock?
Just because Marty understands our life, too.
I think it was about 7 o'clock, because I hadn't seen you all day.
7 o'clock, he hadn't seen me. I hadn't been home. I called him. I said, no, 7:30.
Yes, it was 7:30.
I said, I'm on my way home. How was your day? And he goes, well, where do you want to start? So I said, my day was good, but let's talk about love, because that's what our first.
But this is kind of the point of love, of understanding that
what
regardless
real love is like, right, Marty? It's not all like easy love, flowers. What's my life like? Like, people are always like, "You're so lucky, you're with Clay," and I'm like, I am lucky, but let's dig into the real story of our love life. Like, what's your story about how we met? Why don't we tell everyone?
Oh.
Then we'll tell my story. Should I tell the real story, or should I kind of...
okay. This is the part of love, is actually getting into the...
By the way, before we start, I want to advertise for my grandfather, Boyd, that owned Boyd's Department Store and furniture store and grocery and bank. And he was my mother's grandfather. Mom, if I got any of that wrong, please correct me. But it was a very small town in Campbell, Missouri. And my grandfather, Boyd, worked really hard. He married my grandmother, Boyd, who was half Cherokee and half Choctaw, and then they had the Merritts, and that story goes on. But I had to advertise for him because I love him, and he's no longer here, but I have a great family on that side. I come from a history of extremely strong women.
Smart, strong
women, and men that were smart and strong, but lots of fun. The men in my life were really fun.
Is that why you like Mardi Gras?
No, I don't think they were partiers, Clay. What I mean was they were always joking and fun. Mardi Gras. But I'm getting off topic again. It's okay. Maybe. Our followers will understand this. Can you tell me how we met and tell everyone the story of our love story?
The first time we met? Because some people say it's been 9 lifetimes that we've done this.
Explain that. Tell our love story.
Our love story began 40.
He says 9 lives ago.
Many moons ago.
Clay believes in 9 lives, and he thinks I'm the daughter of Rahm.
Cats have 9 lives. We've gone to many different places, that psychics, and been all over the world and talked to many different people.
It's not psychics that have said it. It's people in our group. I don't always believe in
our amazing
psychics,
community, and then some. So yeah. I mean, some people see things differently. There might be means of identifying.
I believe in prophets, but not psychics. But anyway,
you believe in prophets. We believe in, you can say, reincarnation, because we are this amazing soul that's wrapped in a skin suit, and maybe it can transfer.
Yeah, I don't know about that. My grandmother Merritt believed in reincarnation, and I kind of, like Coco, our dog, is like Tilly, so I kind of believe in it, but none of us have all the answers.
Exactly, we don't. That's a part of the journey.
But your story is we've been in love 9 lifetimes.
I don't know about 9, but we talk about soulmates, right? There's people have the conversation about soulmates, and I think the one problem that I think we're always looking for love in the wrong places. A little whooping penub, but the interesting aspect of going through this journey, because I was married before for a long time, and got married way too young.
I was married a couple of times before, and I can honestly say I was hurt severely until I met you by multiple things, because I I always wanted to be in love and just someone be good to me. That's
and
what
I think
wanted.
That's one of the big things is we want to find that one. Right. And we go through this journey of you, and like as a kid, you have your first love. Right. And one of my favorite movies as a kid was A Bronx Tale. And understanding that you get 3 great loves in your life. Right. And then watching that process. And that's where I learned, my dad always taught me this, but watching the movie, I knew why it was always important to open the car door for a woman. Right.
Yeah, well, my dad didn't even let me go on dates unless they opened my car door.
And it is an absolute fact. But
I should have told my dad, just because they opened my door doesn't mean they're going to be nice to me. But I wasn't prepared for the meanness that happened along the way.
We always want to find love. You find many people that you love along the way, because love is this broad spectrum. Right. It
is, and everybody's definition is different.
It's not an absolute, and you might love one person for one thing, and but when you find the person that you're made to serve, right, and that soulmate, it changes everything, because it's not a feeling that's normal. And Jerry Maguire, had the great quote, in the movie of "You had me at hello." Right. And that's actually what happened for me and you. But when I have
you're telling me what happened to me. I get to tell my story.
I know you're in. You're going to go through everything else. I'm going through the introduction though of when, and we have to give a shout out to John Sally, because John Sally's the wingman. I met John at his house in LA for a day, and then a couple weeks later he ended up meeting you, and he's like, you need to meet this crazy guy out in California that I just met.
Did we tell this story on a podcast before, Marty? Okay.
But this is the love. This is the love episode, not one that anyone watched.
Okay, not anything that anyone saw. Okay, go ahead.
Not. Are people going to see this one too?
It's on our YouTube, House of Rahmas.
Oh,
yeah.
Now you have followers, but since I'm on it, it might get banned.
Actually, the number one thing on YouTube, even despite the actors and actresses on that, is you.
I know, and Esai knows who gets more viewership. This guy.
Well, I think you did, because it was the 2 of us.
I think that that might be the case.
Marty, Stephanie, did I have something to do with the followers?
But that's 100%. But that's the point of having two worlds collide, right? That when they come together, and when John pulled you on the phone, when you said hello, I had this tap on my shoulder that said, "She's it."
What do you mean you had a tap on your shoulder? I've always wanted to ask that. What did that tap look like?
So I've had 2 times in my life where God's kind of given me some guidance. Right. You have those experiences a lot more often than I do.
I feel like God does give me guidance. Yeah. I think I fell in love. I know this sounds very odd to say, but I fell in love with God and Jesus when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And I don't think my mom believed me, but I heard a voice tell me that I had to follow Christ and to serve and to love the rest of my life. And the reason I was here was to serve and love. So it was hard for me because my example was Christ. And
pretty good role model.
Pretty good role model. But tell me what the tap on the shoulder is like.
So the first time I had the experience was about 19 years ago, when I started all the work in environmental toxicology and all the detox stuff. Because growing up as a kid, everything that I studied was all about diet, nutrition, lifestyle. Yeah. And it was addition. And then when I got introduced to this crystal and what it could do, that was the first time where it was kind of palpable, but it's not like you had pressure on your shoulder, but you could feel it of, hey, pay attention to this, because you have this internal conversation, because there's someone talking to you, right? That's having this discussion, yet it's not there, but it's there. Yeah. And that was the first path of knowing this is what you're supposed to follow. And then that's led into the opportunity of doing everything that's done. But the journey then went from this walk of follow this, which there was, many, many different detours along that path. But when
I kind of want to get to the point, because I think we're going to lose our followers.
When John put us, it's
a lot. I mean,
yes, but it's the important part of the story. When John put us on the phone, it was that second tap, and it was follow her, serve her, you'll be able to do everything that you need to do in your life if you help her do what she was made to do.
And so that was love.
That was knowing. I think love is best defined by the willingness to sacrifice yourself for the one that you're with. And dogs are the best example of that. When they want to show, when they show strength and they want to show love, the one thing that they'll do is they'll turn over. They will show you their weakness, right? They will surrender themselves to you. They'll turn over and say, look, if you want to kill me, here's my belly, because you can take me right now if you want.
I don't think that's what they're doing. They're not saying that.
They are. The aspect of understanding when strong, be weak, right? And as Sun Tzu put, it's kind of one of the key aspects of the art of war. But the ability for, especially men in a relationship, to actually show weakness is one of the most powerful ways of showing that you love someone, because you can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's one of the hardest things to do if you've been in other relationships and you've never had those feelings before, or you've never done it before, right? Of knowing that this is. It's not something that's standard, right? Like what we have, and it's why no one can be jealous of. People can be jealous of me, but no one's going to look at my life as being hard, because I have something that no one else has, and I know that with how much I love you, and what we get to do. So it's the interesting part of knowing everything that we do is because of that. Everything that I am is because of that. And everything that I will be is because of that, right? And I think that's the beautiful part, and also the hard part, because when people don't understand that, one of our biggest arguments is, oh, there's people around us. Someone said you're flirting, and it's like, actually, there's right, but there's no chance. I mean, look at me. But no, let's look at this. What part of me is going to flirt with another woman?
I think you flirt on a daily basis. Where's the third person in this?
I do not flirt with anybody. I talk to people when I'm animated.
Well, I don't think you're inappropriate at all. I think, though, and Marty, I mean,
Marty thinks I flirt with him.
No, but I will say this.
I like that.
Yeah.
You have a great personality, and the way you talk to men is the way you talk to women. I do think that men have to be careful, because women that are either unhappy or looking for something can take that wrong. So you have to be careful. I have to be careful, because when you're talking about loving and serving, I was just born that way. And then my parents would say that. I was born loving people, serving them, and it was very easy. My parents would worry about me a lot, because they felt like, I mean, my mother would tell you this, that I just loved everybody. And everybody, my mother was
loved
worried. My mom was worried people would hurt me. And actually, my mom pretty much predicted that. I had been, because I opened my heart so easily, I forgive 70 times 7, because the Bible says that, so I've really followed that throughout my life. But I would have people hurt me, and I had to really learn that loving someone does not mean letting someone ever treat you bad. Or hurt you, which is one of the things you've taught me. Not that you don't ever hurt me, but if you ever hurt me, you always say, then I'm going to change that. Because if that hurts you, then I'm going to change that. But before you, and I think that's why it took me so much longer to fall in love with you and accept it, because I automatically recognized, I understand how you felt, because as soon as we met, we became very close friends. And we started working together, and there was this mutual friendship that was almost unbeatable and unstoppable, no matter how many people tried. And lots of people tried. We were both with other people. I got engaged to someone else. You got pretend engaged, whatever that was. You did give a ring and took my Tesla and gave it to her. So it was pretty serious. I mean, you came in the office with hickeys.
I was spiraling.
You were out of control. You had hickeys on your neck. Took my Tesla. You gave her my sunglasses and my watch.
No, she took your sunglasses. Hold on. She took your sunglasses.
He bought me a watch.
She took your watch.
It to another girl.
She hijacked it. I did not give it. It was hijacked.
So the path where Clayton is like, we fell in love. I'm like, okay, that's not the entire full story.
But the thing is the journey of the process, because. And I think this was the big thing. You know how people say this girl's a hot mess? That's what I thought about you. He's a hot mess. But I didn't look like this, though.
You didn't look like this at all. And what did I tell you?
You said, this is going to change.
That's what I said. I go, Clay, can I tell you something? And we're really going to do this? He goes, yeah. I go, this is going to change. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, well, one of my gifts is making people look really good. And I said, I want to do that for you, but if I do it, I don't want you to be arrogant, which
has been a great success.
And he goes, so the glasses, the hair, clothes, that was all me, just so everyone knows.
But the glasses are function, not fashion.
The glasses are for the ADHD, but I did say, Clay, this is you. We're going to do this because this looks good, because you're going to be a dynamic businessman that will make history, that will be definitely at a higher elevation than me someday. And to do this, we've got to make it where we can grab attention. And I said to Clayton, no matter where you go, people are going to say, wow, we like the way you look. And what happens now?
They say, hey, I like what I see. I like what I see.
Hey, listen, I knew the minute we walked into Cane's Steakhouse and someone said, are you all famous? That Clayton would always wear a hat and glasses and the hair. Marty, it was like, okay, now Clayton, I'm like, no.
It's like, well, I've arrived.
And Clayton's like, yeah, you kind of know me. I'm like, no.
It's like, no. I'm like, yeah, I'm a big deal. I have 6 followers on social media. It's like, you've seen me on my wife's podcast. Yeah. So I think we all want to find that. And when we see it in other people, you know, right?
Did it hurt your feelings that I wasn't sure? I've never asked you that.
Did it hurt my feelings? No, it hurt my feelings when you went out with someone else and then said you were engaged, and then I spiraled.
Okay, but for the audience, let me just say this.
Then I discovered Tinder, and that was bad.
Let me just say that. Then he discovered Tinder. Stephanie goes, I can't even imagine. Can you imagine? Yeah. I was there for it. You're right. You can't even imagine.
I didn't understand how to use that app.
You're absolutely right. You can't even imagine. So let me just tell you this.
It was a phase. It was bad.
Let me just tell you this. So instead
Lord, I apologize.
I had decided, because I went through a really horrible divorce and I had 4 kids at home and I was running a company as a CEO. I was extremely busy, extremely stressed, and I started traveling a lot internationally. The weight of the whole, I paid for the kids. I paid for everything. It was a lot of pressure on me. I didn't have anyone help me. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And so I'm just going to say this, that pressure, it was hard for me to feel anything. That pressure for me was, I don't even know how to, it was suffocating. I didn't know how to talk to people about it. I didn't have anyone. I was alone. I didn't have anyone helping me financially. I knew my parents loved me, but I wasn't going to ask them for anything. And we had lost everything. And because of his addiction and the different things we were going through. So I really, it was a hard place to fall in love with someone, especially someone who didn't have children, who had different beliefs than I did, had a much different personality. To be best friends with that person was not hard for me. To fall in love and think they would never hurt me was another challenge because of what I had been through.
And I think the hard part was when I experienced, what I first experienced, to try to even understand it and comprehend it, because you're like, I could never feel like this that quickly. That can't be real. Right. So that was part of the challenge in the journey.
I remember you called me and you said that to me. You said, do people ever stay in love forever, or are they still attracted to each other? Because you said your preacher told you that changes. And I said, well, it never changed with my parents. My parents were 14 and 15, or 15 and 16, something like that when they met. And even though they haven't had a perfect life, my mom still says when my dad turns around, on some days she gets butterflies in her stomach, and my father says the same thing. And I remember being little thinking, wow, I want that. And didn't understand why that wasn't happening.
I don't get them in my stomach, but I get them in my heart.
Okay, exactly. In your heart. That's right. That was beautiful. Marty just said that was beautiful.
I'm a little nervous. I love
right. It's all about the timing and the delivery. You get to learn what's important, and when you find that, you'll do anything for it. And like we've talked about, I could have been happily married. I could have had multiple kids, and when we met, I would have left. I would have had to take my kids. No, I actually would have, because it's the weird part
thank goodness you
of knowing.
Because
I know 4 is plenty.
So I remember when I told Clay I had 4 kids. So first of all, I didn't know how old Clay was. When I first met him.
Still don't.
I didn't know how old he was. I didn't know. I'm going to be really honest. I met him over the phone, and he constantly joked like he does. For me to have thought he had ever been married before was not even my mind, because I assumed he had never been in a serious relationship before, and I don't know why I assumed that, but I did. And then when I found out he didn't have children and he had been married before, I said, by the way, I have 4 children, and I'm not looking.
And I said, what?
This won't work for us. And he said, I've always wanted 4 children.
I've always wanted a family, so it's perfect.
I said, I think it's a little different than you think. I said, it's a lot of work, and it's amazing when you're a parent, but it's a lot of hard work, and I don't expect anyone to love my kids as much as I love my kids. That was when we were friends. And you actually, while we were friends, went to the kids' sporting events, went to things, and I would get so mad, and I would think, why is he here? And you would say, because someday they're going to be my stepchildren.
And what do they know now? They know that when they were younger, they remember the weird stalker guy was always around them.
They wanted you to leave. They were like, why is this guy?
Why is he always around? Why is he here?
And I think somehow you knew that I had 4, and they were all in sports. I mean, poor Duquesne was at University of Tennessee, and getting up there to watch him play rugby when I had 3 kids at home playing sports. It was almost that I was raising by myself. It was an impossible feat.
Yeah.
It was an impossible feat. And they'll never, hopefully when they're older, they'll understand. I remember Duquesne and Preston, having a 5 and 8-year-old, and then all of a sudden I have a 1-year-old and a newborn, because Merritt and Crater were a year apart. And
is that a lot?
It was a lot. Working like I worked, having the situation at home I had, it was a lot.
You weren't doing just a normal job. I mean, you were doing research in biotech and traveling.
And that's why when we met, I was like, he has no idea what I've been through and what my life's like on a daily basis. Because now, and they're older now, but you saw how hard it was when they were younger. I mean, I was barely making it.
When you know you're in for the duration.
Yeah.
Right. I think when people look at love, like you were talking about with your mom and dad, they were together when they were 15 and 16 years old, and you said they haven't had a perfect path. I think that's the whole part of love. And I think Pink said it best, in The Truth About Love. It's not just all, pink balloons and ribbon all the time.
Yeah.
It's being able to know that you're on a journey. There's going to be pitfalls. There's going to be crazy shit that happens. We're human, so we're going to do stupid shit. And especially being the guy in the relationship, which I am. Right.
Well, is Marty the guy? He's wearing pink today.
Doesn't make you not a guy.
No, my dad's favorite color is pink. But anyway,
I know guy. If a guy can rock pink, they're confident.
Do you know that it's one of my favorite colors on men?
I know, it looks great.
I love pink on men.
It makes my eyes
Then
pop.
why don't you wear it? Pink is one of my favorite colors. Why don't you wear it? Marty's wearing it for his wife today. He has a boa on.
Oh.